Hello, everyone. It is I, again, Yeet Boy. Now, anyone who has been on my channel for, like, really, really close, really long time, I have been writing a book for 5 to 6 years. It is a very important book to me, as it has lived rent-free in my head that entire time, to the point where I literally cannot go one day without thinking of, what would be a good plot point for this book series? And I've just finished the first book. That should emphasize just how dedicated I am to this book series. Anyways, the first book has now been somewhat finished, and now it must be revised and edited even further than it already has. But due to it already being finished, I can safely say I can give a bit more of a preview. Previous ones were inconsistent and bad, just in quality in general. And I hope this one gives a much more clearer image to what the book series is actually going to be about. So, let us... There. So here's the story. Just a week after the opening of rifts between time and space connecting locations and universes across the Omniverse, a mysterious prison is found by an unlikely duo. A superpowered amnesiac with baggage from a past life and a young monster prince. Forced to band together for survival against a psychotic murderer seeking them out, a zealous peacekeeper obsessed with justice, and a broken ruler with ties to the past. They are joined by a sleazy poltergeist, a dark warrior with an even darker history, and two individuals seeking relief from endless war. On borrowed time, can they escape this nightmarish HE double hockey sticks or double toothpicks depending on your grammar they are thrust in, or will they succumb to the deep? More importantly, who is the voice only the dead can hear speaking to? Honestly, this is probably going to make zero sense to anyone without further context. This is my big issue. But here we go. For those of you wondering, yes, this is indeed a multiverse story, or in this case, Omniverse, considering, in case you forgot, creation is infinite! No, seriously though, really, creation is basically infinite. So, these characters, ironically, are actually going to be from already registered IPs, or rather, they're already existing people. I'll give you 10 seconds to guess what they got. Pause the video. No, just pause the video and I want you to try and guess, and then type it down in the comments below. You done? Alright, so here is the actual characters. The cast. I'm sorry, I can't do the thing. It doesn't even make sense to do that. I just did it because of the meme. But anyways, here we go. Here is the cast. First up is our superpowered amnesiac. For those of you who do not play Destiny 2 and thus are not, or for those of you who don't care about the story of Destiny 2 that much and are too focused on the grind and loot and shooting and just that part of the game, this is Ultransoft, or as he is now known by now, the Crow. I had to adjust the story numerous times because of how his lore just kept getting updated while I was writing the gosh darn book, which is difficult considering he's by far the most important main character for this book. For now, in the series, and he is most definitely, as I said, an amnesiac superpowered being with a life of baggage. So, as you can probably guess, he is going to have quite the difficult time down here, especially considering that this prison is uncharted as well as secret. The people behind it will not be revealed until later. More specifically, like at the end of the book, like way past the ending of the book, like the post-credit scene of the book. I'm just joking. But anyways, so this, Aldrin Sov or the Crow, is our main character, or the most important one. Now you may be thinking, who could possibly be next? Like, this is someone so relatively obscure if you don't play Destiny 2 that what can you do with this character? Surprisingly, a lot of things. So who is next, huh? This is our Dark Warrior with a darker past and history. Yes, it's the great Ben Solo / Kylo Ren, depending on how deep you're into Star Wars lore. Yes, this is indeed the man who is single-handedly the best character in the sequel trilogy, although that's not saying much due to that trilogy being god-awful. It has legitimately made me want to rip my eyes out, so I decided that this character is simply too good and there's too many things that could have been done with him to leave him in that abysmal... yeah, I hate the sequel trilogy. Anyways, as you can probably guess, there's going to be one important question. Does this take place before the movies, or no, during the movies, or does it take place after The Rise of Skywalker? Is that even a question? It takes place after. As much as I hate that movie, I can't just ignore the lore. It's like way too important. So, how, then, did he survive? For those of you who... I'm not even going to put a spoiler warning. This movie's too bad for you to even have to watch it. For those of you who have not watched it either, at the end he dies. So, how? Well, quite simple, really. I used a combination of Star Wars lore and a bunch of other things, which will be explained in a later book, to basically Deus Ex Machina him back to life just for this series. I also made sure to write his character as a character who... The most interesting thing about him is that, unlike Vader, who is someone who basically cut off empathy while he was a Dark Lord, this man is someone who has such an overwhelming sense of empathy, despite, being forced to do all these awful things due to his desperate desire for approval. Star Wars is crazy. Honestly, the sequel trilogy. So I didn't have that much to work with here. So, after being revived, the guild crushes him, essentially. Instead of, doing literally anything else, he decides to just basically be a wandering... basically a wandering samurai. He just walks wandering endlessly, keeping his identity secret and not wanting anyone to know he's alive because he believes it's better that they think he's dead. Which is kind of sad. Even sadder is the fact that he's essentially Nico Robin from One Piece at this point in the series right now. And if you don't get that reference, then shame on you! So, what is his role? Quite simply put, he's going to be by far the most important character in the entire book series, though right now he is by far at his weakest, least developed, as well as, relatively unimportant. At this rate, the only reason he's even in this book is because... I mean, come on. Characters in Destiny aren't as strong, especially this guy who's just fresh after being revived as a guardian. If you don't know Destiny lore, then I recommend you look up it. Otherwise, okay, I might as well. He's basically dead, then revived. No, never mind. Just look up the Destiny lore. Gosh darn it! It shouldn't even be that difficult. It's literally fact number one about the characters of Destiny. If you're dead and you meet a specific set of requirements, you get revived as this super-powered being who can get revived consistently by this thing called a ghost, by a cosmic space god that spent most of the series sleeping. Anyways, point being, despite that sounds really strong, but here's the thing. It's really not. A lot of people in Star Wars could clap this man easy if they with the right information, really. Now I know what you're thinking, but this man was the weakest Skywalker and Force user in the series of significant value by far. What are you going to do with him? Well, obviously I'm going to make him grow, gosh darn it. In case you forgot, the entire point of his character in the series is that he was basically never reached his full potential. Like, he was constantly being stunted by literally everyone around him, even his own family in some ways. The whole point of this series is he needs to finally get past that sense of stuntingness, and he has to basically move on, much like Grow or Aldrin. I'll explain later. Just read the gosh darn book when it comes out. Anyways, I look forward to seeing your reactions to this, quite frankly, mess of a character and how much of an impact I hope he makes, because he is quite frankly the most absolutely insane of these characters. You'll see soon. Anyways, who's up next? And this is our second main character. Yes, I know what you're thinking. You thought by Monster Prince I was going to do just some random generic monster, but no, it was him! Yes, as you can probably guess, yes, I am a fan of Undertale. If the old fandom turned you off, I apologize for that. I am a relatively newcomer, and therefore I do not even know most of the old fandom. All I know is that it was absurdly cringe. But right now, in this point of the story, I think he's the most important because, well, the themes of Undertale are relatively subtle here, such as, understanding and mercy, which is odd considering this all takes place in Aldrin's world, which is constantly rife. It's constantly being torn apart by constant war. So the fact that a main character who understands both what it's like to be so nihilistic that you literally can't even imagine why someone would spare you just because life is precious, to also being, the sweetest cinnamon roll in all of existence. If you disagree, then I dare say play the gosh darn game, play the true pacifist run, and tell me that this man isn't single-handedly the sweetest character in the Undertale universe. Like, legitimately, there's a reason his theme is one of the saddest songs in history. But anyways, his whole thing is that he's Aldrin's motivation to get out. He is by far Aldrin's first friend in this part of the series as the opening of the Omniverse shakes up. It's a butterfly effect. As you can probably guess, for those of you that do know Destiny 2 lore, this essentially starts off before recent changes in Destiny 2. Basically, it takes off like about a year after Aldrin was revived, which also means that not a lot happened. However, he's not indebted to... He's not where he was when he next reappeared in Destiny by in the slightest. So, as of right now, this is his only friend. The others will become friends sooner, but he's the first. They both have a sense of commonness because they are both people who have went through an extreme level. They both are people with extreme levels of devotion, and both are honestly cinnamon rolls. Like, Aldrin at first doesn't seem like a cinnamon roll, but this man is genuinely cares for beings no matter what they are. Even if, like, most other people would deem them, like, just pure evil, even if it's not really based on their actions and it's just based off... Honestly, now that I think about it, a large majority of characters in Destiny just seem racist towards all the other enemy factions. It's weird. Anyways, basically, Asriel's key importance in this series is... He is the main support character. He is by far the one that shakes up this part of the story the most. And most importantly, his effort to he's the moral consciousness. He keeps everyone in line and tries to bring the best out of everyone here. He has his own sense of guilt and stuff, which you can guess is probably becoming a running theme, especially if you know Aldrin's whole history. But that'll come sooner. And yes, the ghost with the most, Beetlejuice. I'm not going to say his name 3 times, so I'm just going to call him BJ. BJ is by far my favorite character in this, simply because he doesn't really even do that much. It's just that every time he does appear, he just decides to do something absolutely insane, and it's essentially he only has one really important moment in the book, and that's I won't spoil it. This hecking speed reading ADHD demon is literally the single most. He's somehow ridiculously important to the plot as well, simply because he's dead, and he keeps hearing this one voice. You will know who this voice is later on as you continue to read, because it will be obvious. It'll be quite the shock for some people, but don't worry. This is literally just part of the canon of the books, and will be explained in the next one. Anyways, after the events of his whole debacle, he's through some measure of another, whether it be just simply being sentenced to there, or whether it just be that he accidentally got knocked there after being sentenced to being chained up for eternity, for all sorts of reasons, basically. But whichever one you want to guess, this man got basically locked away in that prison somehow, and yeah, the others freed him. Naturally, he makes a deal with them and has to help them out, because once a man is indebted, he has to do everything he can. People don't realize this, but Beetlejuice is actually like, he's like, even if at his worst, he's at lawful evil at worst, or just even not. I'd even garner to say he's lawful neutral at worst. Beetlejuice just legitimately exists. He's surprisingly trustworthy when it comes to his deals in keeping his promises. However, the main issue is just that he's also ridiculously chaotic at a whim, and will always try and figure out a way to make sure that the deal is in his best interest. Honestly, the main point of the whole story of Beetlejuice is essentially that, all the characters were so obsessed with what they wanted that it just winded up once they shifted, it just disrupted all the deals they made with this one guy. It's messy. Anyways, he is definitely the funnest character, the comedic relief. Also one of the most overpowered, considering you can't kill him because he's already dead. But even more importantly, he's just someone who's there to basically the Deus Ex Machina of the group. If there's something literally no one else can do, it's going to be this man who saves their butts. I look forward to seeing this absolute lad of a deceased person just absolutely wreck his way through this entire story. I'm sorry. I just can't. Okay, I'm sorry. I was just thinking of something funny. You wouldn't get it later. Anyways, and here is our main villain. For those of you who do not know who he is, mostly because he is, I'm pretty sure this is basic. I had to get this off of fan art. I'm pretty sure this is a fan art of a character because he's never officially appeared. This is the character in Destiny known as Dredrin Yor, originally known as Razel Azair. He's essentially what all these people could be if they allow their darkness to overtake them, essentially. Because every character in here has at least some negative trait that they have to overcome or accept in order to move further. This man's negative trait is essentially, honestly, if you look into his lore, it's simply he all he knows is fighting. To the point where he genuinely just begins to have a survival of the fittest idea that gets warped by by a curse placed on him. Now, for those of you who do know Destiny lore and are like, but dude, he died like 700, he died like a few hundred years before the beginnings of the actual first game. How was he even here? The answer to that, it will be revealed later in the book. Read the gosh darn book, people. I am not going to spoil this. That would just ruin all the appeal of the book. But anyways, yes, this surprisingly psychotic and charismatic zombie, essentially, is going to be the one chasing these people for a certain ulterior motive. Why? Have I not said it enough? Read the book! Now, there is one more character that I refuse to state by name, although I'm pretty sure you'll just see his picture next anyways, who has another role in this overall story. A character whose impact can be felt throughout the story. A character who inadvertently should not be still here yet somehow is. A character who I guarantee you no one else is willing to imagine. This is a man, a demon, the pinnacle of a black Air Force energy. And it is. I hope no one saw that. Just read the gosh darn book. Anyways, there's also another teaser. There's also another thing at the end of the book that I won't spoil, so just read the book. It'll be coming soon to whatever website I decide to do so, so I'll post a video with the link and stuff there. Anyways, this has been Yeet Boy. I hope you all read this book, despite my poor ability to promote it. I hope you all read it. I hope you all enjoy it, and I hope that it gets y'all feeling good and interested about what happens next in this world. These worlds that I have now connected. Anyways, if you like the video, please like and subscribe and hit the bell in order to know when I upload another video, because my upload schedule it sucks. I'm really sorry. When you have as many AP classes as me, you know I don't have that much free time. Anyways, I'm out. Bye. I'm gonna go watch One Piece now.